Hey, what's going on, guys? Another week, another audio skills video. I'm your host, Ben Runyan, for this week's rendition of Audio Skills series, Producing with Ben Runyan. Today, we're going to pick up where we left off last week with the remix of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Now, I had a commenter, whose name escapes me at the moment, I'm sure you'll answer, who mentioned that the key of the song was better served in F-sharp minor instead of A major. I believe those are relative keys. I'm still learning a lot of the music theory stuff. I've just been going off gut for years. But upon looking at that, it appears that the commenter was absolutely right. So, I went ahead and started looking into that. Now, we're going to jump into the remix today. I did a lot of prep for this session, so I'm going to go over what I did before maybe I continue adding anything new. All that said, the commenter was also correct. I chose a very challenging song to remix, not just from a musical perspective, but from a sonic perspective. Earth, Wind, and Fire's song, if we take a quick listen to it, has a lot going on sonically. Guitars, drums, lyrics, everything. And it's already got a 4-to-the-floor beat. So if you try to do anything counteractive to that, like let's say a half-step beat or a hip-hop beat, you're going to still be fighting with those 16th note hi-hats in the background. So you either A, have to do a dance remix, which I didn't want to do a club remix because a million club remixes of this song have been done. Or B, you got to get weird with it. So I decided to get weird with it, and this is where I went with it. Now, I believe in somewhere in one of my videos, I discussed Logic's EX24 sampler functions. And I want to get back into that today. Now, let me see here. Let me just organize this session a little bit. So I got bassline. I've got my drums. I didn't use this section. I don't need that. And I don't need that. And I don't need that. And I don't think I need that. But let's go from here. So let's just listen to what I have so far. And I'm going to explain how I got to this point and see how maybe we can expand a little bit further. So I went in a super left field direction. So instead of trying to make this, true to the verse chorus format remix, I decided to go with more of a chopping format with the remix in terms of actually throwing it into a sampler and having it chop up sections. This is allowing me to put in more sonically in my own remix and not be fighting with the original. So, for instance, if I pull up the musical keyboard here and I start using it, you can hear it chopping up certain parts of the song. Now, how did I achieve that? So I've got two chops here. I've got chop 1 and chop 2. Let's see what chop 1 sounds like. You can notice, number 1, they're different parts of the song, and number 2, I've bussed them to a very, very big reverb with a Logic Chroma verb on that aux send, and that's how I'm getting that long decay with the reverb. So and of course, you'll also notice that I added the bass line, which follows the progression in this particular case of A, which we had originally discussed. A looks like a C sharp, looks like an F sharp, which we discussed it's an F sharp minor, and another C sharp, and back to A. So, not a lot going on there that's too crazy. And you'll notice here, to get that width on the bass sound, I just added a little bit of unison. And you can also notice originally in here, I had tried to kind of fit this part in. And I mean, it sort of does fit, I guess. And I want to change things up here, so I want to try to change the bass line a little bit. And this is a good way to kind of separate, you know, an A and a B section, you will, of the song. So let's see, repeat. Oops. Didn't want to delete that part. Undo, delete tracks. Undo, delete tracks. There we go. Oh. Man, that's so weird. I've been noticing that happening, so I gotta be careful with that. That's like dragging out for some reason. All right, so there's an absence of a lead vocal melody. So, you know, in essence, there's a few ways you could go with this remix. A, it's not really a remix, and you have some sort of hip hop rap verse. You know, you're sampling Earth, Wind, and Fire, and you're singing over top of it. I feel like this production would be better suited for such an endeavor. In absence of that, you could also try to add lead melody. So, for instance, let's pop in here and let's see. First things first, let me just clean this part up because this was working fine. And let's just do that and have my smart grid snap on. So let's cut a little bit out of here for maybe a lead melody. So I'm going to use my EQ to cut a little bit out of this section right here between, I don't know, 750 and 5,000 to leave room for maybe some sort of lead pluck melody. All right, so that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and create a new track. I'm going to pull up Serum, and, you know, I don't know. I'm going to look for a preset of some kind. I like the plucked stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find anything there that's interesting. Okay, I admittedly am obsessed with sounds like that. So I'm having some lag on the keyboard, so I'm going to have to quantize this. So I'm going to really shittily play this in real fast. All right, the lag was so bad. So let's see if I can correct this. Quantize on 16ths. go. So I think, just want to repeat that right there. Go ahead and lower the volume there. Maybe do something interesting with a filter here. So let's see here. So let's go ahead and change that to latch. Cool. And then I'll have that cut straight back in to that other part. I think that makes like a nice little interesting section. So let's go from here. Oh yeah, and then real quick, I'm gonna add, like a little riser. So let me take off this filter off my splice here. And, in summation of this video, I just kind of want to show you how workflow really happens. In other words, I didn't walk into this session with a great amount of intent in terms of what I'm actually trying to create. It's rather that I am working with what I have, deciding based on sonics, deciding based on melody, deciding based on rhythm, what should happen next in the song. This bad boy in. So, kind of in summation, if you watched the last video, I struggled to really make a true remix of this song, considering one, the nature of the song, considering two, there's just so many remixes out there that I figured I'd take more of a, kind of a melodic approach in terms of, chopping up the song and using it more as an instrument and less as a sample that I am trying to, remix true to the song. So, really, this is what I have. And that's it for today. Oh, and before I go, how I got to this chop part, for those of you who haven't seen before, basically, you have the sample here, you right click on it, you do convert to new sampler track, and then make sure you're doing it by transient markers. Keep in mind, there's only 128 slices in MIDI, so it's only going to give you 128 keys, if you will, to make these slices. Now, that said, that's depending on where your sample starts. And not just where your sample starts, you have to make a new audio region. So for instance, if I only wanted the samples to start from here, Logic still knows that I had samples before that. You would have to go ahead and bounce it to a new region, and then right click on it, and then do convert to sampler to get your samples to start from that point in the sample. Hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up in the comments. Shout out if you liked the video. If you want to see me continue on this remix, or I'm really thinking about doing kind of a Logic shortcut, Logic workflow type video next week. So let me know what you think. It's been fun. Take care. See you next week for AudioSkills.com. Check me out at Ben Runyan, BenRunyan.com. See ya.